I would be surprised if we know a lot about that being, if we even know what kind of being it is, namely a god or something, which has attributes like knowing, like I don't know, like, don't you think that as humans, like if there's a necessary being, it would be very hard, basically impossible for our intellect to know what that kind of being is?
I partially agree.
Do you think consensus is something good? You say, I don't know, do you think it's good if all countries agreed on it?
Consensus from people who might not know something, it's how can it even be good? So if we want definitive guidance about an issue from something, we should look at the guidance from our Creator. That's the most infallible guidance. Infallible. That's the best guidance. Human beings, in the past, they erred. We know about them. When they agreed together, they erred, made mistakes. And they keep on making mistakes even today. And we will keep on making mistakes even later. Even if we had such a supposed consensus, people will still make mistakes. Why? Because this consensus may be made based on simple ignorance of the whole evidence of reality. For example, chance. Chance. Is there such a thing as chance in your understanding through philosophical lens?
Like I roll the dice.
Yeah. Is there such a thing as chance?
I don't know. Could be. It might be physically determined, might not be.
Right. You see? But many people think there is an element of chance, isn't it? Right? But if you think about it, if you was rolling a dice, right, or a coin, and you roll over and it falls. If I had the prerequisite, and I'm going to tell you what these are, I can guarantee every single time head or tail, or on the side. If I knew, for example, the weight of the coin, the shape of the coin, the type of metal, the force I flicked it through, how much it went up, the gravitational force, yeah. If I knew the place it's falling on, the solid, is it a rock, is it a metal, is it plastic, is it rubber, whatever it is. If I knew the wind speed, if I knew the temperature, if I knew the humidity, if I knew so many factors, I can just simply say head, tail, with precision and accuracy. Yeah. It's our ignorance about those factors involved. We cannot quite predict or accurately determine what it's going to be because we don't know those factors. So in our world operates with natural laws, God has put in. But there are many things that we don't know yet. That's why we still say this is a matter of chance. But actually, the Creator has determined in a qadar, in a due proportion, everything within this universe, and it governs, these laws governs the universe. So we say the fire burns, but within this property, it may be a property where that the fire may not even burn, right? But we don't know those intricate details of at what point and what can make the fire not burn and so on. If natural laws are there, we will say these are miracles. So when Abraham, the prophet, went into the furnace by Nimrod and he didn't burn, we would say definitely it's a miracle. But it's still operating within God's laws, which we are not familiar with. Okay? There are laws. I mean, to give you an example, can you even think about fire or heat coming from stones? Now we know, because we even cook from heated stones. You can have a barbecue from heated stones. Stones can give you that heat, even though you don't see the heat coming through and so on. Even from, in hot weather, try walking in the Middle East, you will see how hot it can become. So various ways things can absorb heat and they can reflect that heat back, and you can actually boil an egg. I think just this heat wave, people boiled egg in stones. Here in UK, this is what I heard. Maybe it's possible if there was so much heat being reflected and absorbed in the stones. So my friend,
Yes.
Toby, in Islam,
Yes.
if you think about it, if you have at least this understanding and the concept that there is a creator, or possibility of being a creator, being necessary being, and one and only the absolute being who is not deficient, you will see that this line of thinking is in total sync with your heart and your mind. You will see it's like finely tuned. It makes sense. To give you an example, in the Quran there's a chapter or a surah called Surah Al-Ikhlas. A very small chapter. It goes like this, and I'll translate to you in English. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Qul huwa Allahu ahad, Allahu samad, lam yalid wa lam yulad, wa lam yakul lahu kufuwan ahad. Say He is one, unique and only. Ahad. Okay? Say God is one, unique and only. This is the first ayah or a verse. Second says He is as-samad, meaning He is self-sufficient. He is independent. He is free from any needs, but everyone or everything needs Him. This is the word as-samad. Lam yalid wa lam yulad means He is not born, neither does He beget any children or produce any children. So that means He has not been produced Himself, or generated, or made, or been brought into existence. Neither does this Creator God produce or generate or beget or create or make something like Him, like children and offspring. Okay, no fathers, forefathers, and no children and offspring. Okay, up and down, no lineage. وَلَمْ يَكُنْ لَهُ كُفُوًا أَحَدٌ. And there is no similarity or similitude like Him. No co-equal, no comparison in any form or shape. So if you think about it, He is one only and unique. If God is the necessary being, He has to be absolutely one and unique, because there will be no one before Him, because He's the first cause of everything. So there cannot be another one. So being one establishes that. Otherwise there will be another one. There will be some other God that brought God into existence. If He's one, then, and He's not someone that is brought about or generated, and He must be self-sufficient, because no one brought or gave life to this existence. So He must be totally independent and self-sufficient. If He's one and independent and self-sufficient, and He must be unique that way, then He cannot be someone who's born or produces children or offspring, because there will be 2 or 3 or 4 and many. If He hasn't got any children or offspring, doesn't have any fathers or forefathers, and He's one and independent and absolute and unique, there can be nothing like Him. Totally without any co-equality, co-comparison in whatever shape or form. This is one chapter in the Quran which you will find that philosophically, reasonably, intellectually, with your feeling of your heart and your mind, it makes sense. This is how the Quran describes who our Creator is.
But don't you think, or aren't you worried that, well, let's say this necessary being, this very first being, I mean, I'm surprised, I would be surprised if we know a lot about that being, if we even know what kind of being it is, namely a god or something, which has attributes like knowing, like I don't know, like, don't you think that as humans, like if there's a necessary being, it would be very hard, basically impossible for our intellect to know what that kind of being is?
I partially agree, because it is true that as a finite, limited and dependent creature of this necessary being, you would not be able to understand this absolute being. But you can, with your intellectual speculation and reasoning, with the faculty of intellect and exercise of it, you would know this necessary being has to be absolute and one, and has to be unique and independent, has to be unlike anything, just like the chapter that I mentioned to you. These things, your mind is able to grasp, comprehend, and accept without any difficulty. But whether this Creator, for example, why did this Creator create us? The purpose of our creation. You would not intellectually confirm by speculation. Like, you might say, He created me to have chocolates. My purpose of life is to just have chocolates. And He would say, just have bananas. Just making something up, right? You would not know. You would not be able to firmly confirm by intellectual speculation many things about the actions of our Creator, about other things about the Creator. So that's why we don't rely on intellectual speculation only. We have to rely on what we call revelation, or information from that being. When the absolute necessary existence tells us what he is, who he is, and what he is not, and who is not, we know that only then.